Have you ever stopped to feel the exact weight of this cycle? Waking up, working, paying bills, watching the money vanish before it even hits your account, and yet hearing that you just need to look on the bright side for everything to change. I need to tell you something that few people have the courage to say. Looking on the bright side is not enough. It never was. What changes your reality is not a pretty phrase repeated in the mirror. It is the vibe you emit every single day, in every thought, in every emotion, in every decision you make without realizing you are making it. And there is a specific reason why this video reached you today. Exactly when you are about to discover what it truly means to take the quantum leap into the dimension of prosperity. Because it is not willpower, it is not luck, and it is not a matter of merit as so many out there try to convince you, making you believe that your scarcity is your fault. It is a vibe game. It is quantum physics applied to consciousness. And if you feel, even without knowing how to explain it, that there is a version of you living in prosperity, paying bills without stress, sleeping peacefully, seeing your family smile without fear of the next invoice, that sensation is not an illusion. It is proof that this reality already exists, in parallel waiting for you to tune into the right vibe to access it. Today I am going to show you the visualization exercise that, when done daily, reorganizes this vibe. But before we get to it, you need to understand something no one has told you. There is something, or someone, benefiting from your scarcity. And until you know who is playing this game against your financial life, no visualization will fully work. This may sound strange at first, but think with me. Why, even working hard, doing everything right, following the financial advice everyone gives, do you feel like money slips through your fingers like sand? Why does it seem like every time you start to rise, something pulls you back down again? This has a name. And before I show you the visualization technique, I need to introduce you to the tool that will give you the complete map of this game. That is why I wrote this digital book, The God-Given Guide to Protecting Your Family. This book is not just reading, geared exactly toward those who are tired of seeing their own family's financial life being sabotaged by forces that no one explains well. It is a map that shows which energetic and spiritual patterns keep entire families trapped in the cycle of scarcity, generation after generation, and how to recognize the exact moment to break this pattern. If you want to open this map now, the link is pinned in the first comment of this video. You can download it, save it, and return to it whenever you need. There is no rush to continue with me here, because the next step of our conversation is even more important. Back to what matters. Who exactly is playing against your prosperity? In the tradition of various ancient cultures, Egypt, Hebrew, and also in popular Brazilian traditions, there is a similar concept. Patterns that repeat in a family lineage until someone consciously decides to break them. Have you ever noticed that in some families money simply doesn't stick, no matter how hard they work? And in others, it seems like everything flows, even with less apparent effort. This is not genetic coincidence nor birth luck. It is inherited vibe. Every thought of scarcity that a grandfather, a mother, a father repeated for decades. Money isn't for people like us. Whoever has a lot of money is dishonest. We were born to suffer. Turns into a vibration that gets recorded in the family's energetic field. And you, even without realizing it, were born already tuned into that station. That is why so many people try to look on the bright side and nothing changes. They are trying to change the channel without first turning off the old vibe that is still on the air. The first step to reversing this is to recognize without guilt that you did not choose this vibe. You inherited it. The second step is to understand that now, and only now, do you have a choice. And this is precisely where the quantum leap comes in. The moment you stop repeating the inherited pattern and begin consciously to emit a new vibe. And this is exactly what many people who have broken this pattern in their families report. Money began to arrive in unexpected ways. Opportunities appeared out of thin air, and the feeling of financial suffocation simply stopped making sense. It is not magic. It is the physics of frequency applied to your history. It was precisely with this turning point in mind that the digital book, The God-Given Guide to Protecting Your Family, was created. It does not just stay in theory. Inside, you will find specific exercises to identify which inherited pattern is active in your lineage. as well as prayers and protection rituals used for generations to seal off this heritage of scarcity and open space for a new vibe to enter. This book was made for those who have awakened enough to know that their family's financial reality is also a spiritual reality, and who are ready to go beyond the shallow advice of save more that the world insists on repeating. The link remains pinned at the top of the comments in case you already feel it is time to open this map. Now, let me show you exactly how the visualization exercise that activates this quantum leap works. The exercise I'm going to teach you now has ancient roots, but has gained a modern explanation thanks to quantum physics research on observation and reality. The central idea is simple to understand but powerful in practice. That which you observe repeatedly with real emotion begins to become more likely to manifest, because your attention, sustained and emotional, functions like a frequency magnet. First step, choose a fixed time of day, preferably right upon waking or just before sleep, because these are the moments when your mind is on the border between the conscious and the subconscious, more open to reprogramming. Sit in a quiet place, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, releasing the air slowly with each breath. Second step, visualize with as much detail as possible a normal day in your life already living in the dimension of prosperity. Do not visualize abstract numbers in a bank account. That does not generate enough emotion. Visualize the scene. You opening a full fridge without thinking twice before buying what the family needs. Visualize the bill being paid without that tightening in your chest. Visualize the face of someone you love, at peace, without the weight of financial worry. The more sensory it is, what you see, hear, feel in your body, the stronger the signal you emit. Third step, while visualizing, repeat mentally an anchoring phrase. It could be something like, I am an open channel for prosperity, or abundance is my natural state. The phrase is not decoration, it acts as a key that locks the new vibe into your energy field. Fourth step, and perhaps the one most forgotten by those who try this alone, give thanks. Give thanks as if you had already received it. Gratitude in advance is what seals the process, because it communicates to the quantum field that you are already aligned with that reality, not begging for it. I know stories of people who did this exercise for 21 days in a row and began to notice changes that seemed small at first. An unexpected bill that did not come, an extra income opportunity appearing out of nowhere, a debt that was resolved in a way no one expected. Small cracks in the old vibe until, at some point, the leap happens visibly. But I need to be honest with you about one thing. This exercise alone does not undo a pattern inherited through generations. It reorganizes your vibe in the present, but if the spiritual root of the blockage remains active in your lineage, you will feel a temporary effect that drains away after a while, like a leaking cup you keep trying to fill. That is why combining the daily visualization exercise with the work of identifying the root, which is detailed in the digital book, is what truly sustains a long-term shift in dimensions. Let me tell you briefly about a woman who participated in a study group on this topic. She worked 2 jobs, barely saw her children, and yet was always in the red. She started the visualization exercise at a friend's recommendation, without much faith that it would work. For the first 2 weeks, nothing. She almost gave up. In the 3rd week, she received a refund she didn't even know she was entitled to. It was small, but it was enough for her to keep going. It was only when she decided to investigate the root of her own family's pattern, discovering that 3 generations before her had faced drastic financial losses and had never, shall we say, closed that cycle spiritually, that the changes reached another scale. In a few months, she landed a better job offer without even actively looking. She always says that the visualization opened the door, but it was understanding the inherited pattern that made her walk through it for good. Stories like this are not rare among those who decide to look at this topic with seriousness, without prejudice, and without rushing for instant results. And it is exactly this type of investigation, applied to your own lineage, that is described step by step in the material I prepared. That is why I wrote this digital book, The God-Given Guide to Protecting Your Family, thinking of people just like you, who have already understood that the scarcity in their own family is not a lack of effort, but a spiritual pattern that can, indeed, be identified and reversed. This book is not just reading material. It is a map that shows who is playing this game against your family's financial stability, what the rules are that no one taught you about energetic inheritances of scarcity, and the practical step-by-step guide to reversing this pattern, uniting the visualization exercise I taught you with the work of identifying the spiritual root of the blockage. The link is pinned at the top of this video's comments. If you felt while reading this that your moment has come to stop repeating the history your family has carried for generations, comment, "I choose prosperity." This not only symbolically marks this decision, but also helps this content reach more families who need to hear exactly this today. Now, stay with me, because the next part is where the truth gets even deeper. There is a question you may not have asked yourself yet. If a quantum leap to prosperity is possible, why doesn't everyone achieve it? The answer has nothing to do with merit, nor with insufficient faith, as certain discourses try to make you believe, placing the blame on those who are already suffering. The answer has to do with interference. Yes, interference. And here I need to talk about a subject that many people avoid for fear of seeming superstitious, but which appears in practically every human culture, from ancient Egypt to Brazilian folk traditions. Envy, when sustained for long enough and with real emotional intensity, generates a vibe that interferes with the target's field. Have you ever felt that unexplained unease, right at the moment things started to improve? That feeling of being watched, criticized, judged, even without concrete proof. That is what various traditions call the evil eye, fat eye, or simply directed dense energy. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because if you are doing the visualization exercise correctly and still feel a strange resistance, a blockage, or inexplicable setbacks right after making progress, it is worth considering this layer. The good news is that protection exists. It always has. Simple, energetic sealing rituals, practiced for a few minutes after your visualization, create a kind of barrier that prevents external energies from draining what you are building. A simple example you can apply today. After doing your visualization and before opening your eyes, imagine a golden light enveloping your entire body like a second skin and say mentally, "What is mine by right remains with me. What does not come in peace shall not draw near." It might seem simple, but the intention behind these words, repeated with consistency, forms a real protective field around your financial life and your family. This brings me to another important point. Protecting prosperity is not just about attracting money, it's about protecting those you love from the wear and tear that scarcity causes within the home. How many couples' fights start at the root over money? How many children grow up absorbing their parents' anxiety regarding bills, even without fully understanding what is happening? When you work on your prosperity vibe, you are not being selfish or materialistic. You are, quite literally, protecting the peace of your home. And here is something few stop to consider. The quantum leap to the dimension of prosperity does not happen all at once like a snap of the fingers. It happens in layers, as if you were climbing a spiral staircase. With each turn, you see the same problem: money, family, security, only from a higher point with more clarity, with less fear. The first turns usually bring small reliefs, a bill that gets paid, a tension at home that subsides. The subsequent turns bring structural changes, a new source of income, an opportunity that changes the course of everything. And it is precisely in consistency, not in the intensity of a single day of visualization, but in daily repetition, even on the days you don't feel like it at all, that the true secret lies. Many people give up in the second week because they don't see immediate results and conclude that it didn't work for me. But think with me. If a pattern took generations to form, does it make sense to expect it to unravel in 3 days? The spiral staircase exists precisely because each turn prepares the ground for the next. Skipping steps doesn't accelerate the process, it only creates frustration. Therefore, more than just giving you a random exercise, what I want is to invite you to understand this process as a 21-day journey, at a minimum. 21 days of daily visualization, at the same time, with the same level of intention. Some days will seem easier, others will feel like nothing is happening, and it is exactly on these days of apparent silence that the deepest work is being done. Like a seed that has not yet broken through the earth, but is already moving beneath the surface. If you start today at the end of these 21 days, I invite you to come back and watch this video again. I promise you will hear things that went unnoticed today because your vibe will be at another point on the staircase. I know that some of you watching this video right now still carry a small voice of doubt. A voice that says, "This is nonsense. This won't pay the bill due tomorrow. I've tried a bunch of things and nothing worked." I understand that voice. It's not your enemy. It is the result of years, sometimes a lifetime, of trying and getting frustrated. But I need to ask you an honest question. What do you have to lose by truly trying for 21 days, no half measures, not just doing it when you remember? The worst thing that can happen is you stay exactly where you are. And the best thing that can happen is you discover in practice that the dimension of prosperity was never as far away as it seemed. There is a difference between those who just listen to this type of content out of curiosity and those who actually apply it. I have no way of knowing, through a screen, which of these two groups you belong to. But the fact that you are still here after this much of the video is already an indication that perhaps you aren't just another casual viewer. Perhaps you are someone who has, for some time, felt that life has more to offer you than the cycle you are trapped in, and that feeling, in itself, is a calling. I will tell you one last thing before I wrap up this topic with you. In many spiritual traditions, there is talk of chosen people, not in the sense of being better or more special than others, but in the sense of having, at some point in life, an encounter with the truth that most ignore. A video that arrives at the right time, a sentence someone says without knowing the impact it will cause, a book that falls into the right hands at the right moment. If you are here listening to this, it is because in some way this encounter is happening to you right now. And what you do with this encounter is entirely your choice. No one can do the visualization exercise for you. No one can repeat the anchoring phrase in your place every day for 21 days. No one can decide for you to stop repeating the pattern of scarcity that your family has carried for generations. That is your work. But you don't have to do it alone, without direction, trying to guess what works. It is this guidance, this detailed map, that separates those who try on their own and often give up halfway through due to a lack of clarity, from those who follow a path already laid out by those who have studied this topic in depth. And that is exactly what the digital book, The God-Given Guide to Protecting Your Family, offers. It is not just pretty theory, it is the step-by-step, including specific prayers for each phase of the journey, protection rituals against external interference, and the complete method for identifying the inherited root of your family financial pattern. I need to be honest with you about one thing. I didn't write this material to please everyone. I wrote it for those who are already tired of shallow solutions, of generic advice from financial blogs that completely ignores the spiritual layer of the problem. If you are one of those people who feels deep down that the root of your financial problem is deeper than spending less and saving more, this material was made for you. Before I leave you with the final invitation, I want to give you one more simple tool, which you can apply as early as tonight, even before deciding if you are going to delve deeper into this topic or not. It is called nightly anchoring. It works like this. In the last 5 minutes before you sleep, instead of scrolling through your phone looking at bad news or other people's lives on social media, close your eyes and repeat mentally, slowly, 3 times. Today I planted the seed of prosperity. Tomorrow it grows a little more. You don't need anything else. No complicated ceremony. No need to believe blindly right from the start. Just repeat it, with your attention on what you are saying, not on autopilot. This small habit alone already begins to reprogram the last thing your mind processes before sleep, and it is precisely in this state, on the threshold between wakefulness and slumber, that the subconscious is most open to absorbing a new vibe without the critical barrier of the rational mind getting in the way. Do this tonight, not tomorrow, not when I remember, today. And if you want to go further, start the full visualization exercise I taught you here tomorrow morning for 21 days. Mark it on your phone's calendar if you need to, so you don't lose the thread along the way. I cannot promise that your life will turn upside down overnight. No one serious promises that. What I can tell you, with all the experience I have studying this subject, is that those who truly commit to this process, daily visualization, nightly anchoring, and the deeper work of identifying and breaking inherited patterns, report, without exception, a real change in their relationship with money, with family, and especially with the very sense of being in control of their own life, rather than a hostage to it. And this is what a true quantum leap is about. It's not about getting rich overnight. It's about leaving the dimension where you react to scarcity with fear, exhaustion, and guilt, and entering the dimension where you build with awareness, calm, and direction, the financial reality your family deserves to live. If this video reached you today, in the middle of your hectic routine, in the middle of your bills, in the middle of your doubts about whether it's worth trying one more time, I don't believe it was an accident. I believe, after so many years studying this subject and talking to so many people who have been through exactly what you are going through now, that there is a kind of synchronicity that only happens when someone is, in fact, ready to take this leap. And if you've made it this far to this point in the video, without skipping, without giving up halfway, that says something about you already. That is why I wrote this digital book, The God-Given Guide to Protecting Your Family. It gathers everything I presented to you today, the complete visualization exercise, the nightly anchoring, the rituals for protection against external interference, and especially the map for you to identify the inherited root of your own lineage's pattern of scarcity, something no 10-minute video can fully explain. This book is not just reading. It is the guide that will accompany you over these next 21 days, and beyond them whenever you need to come back and realign. The link is pinned at the top of the comments of this video. If you feel that today is the day you decide to stop repeating the history of scarcity your family has carried for generations and truly begin your quantum leap toward the dimension of prosperity, download the digital book now and comment below, "I choose prosperity and I begin today." Not because this is a test of faith, but because writing this intention, in your own words, is the first conscious act of your new vibe. The life you visualize every day with consistency and real emotion stops being a dream and becomes destiny. The leap begins now, and it begins with you.